Time for twins part. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you was appointed by Barack Obama, right?
Twice
Twice.
for Assistant Director of National Intelligence,
So he trusts you.
Yeah, he trusted me enough.
He promoted you.
Yeah, he promoted me. He promoted me, twice, and then you got to get confirmed by the Senate, and I was 100% confirmed. Yeah. In fact, at the end of the movie, if you remember, I'm showing my son a letter that I had gotten from Barack Obama, congratulating me on my service to country, and signed, and then I made the comment, and a year later these bastards got me under investigation. I didn't tell this story in the film, but because I do want to return, just put a bow on this thing about these programs, because I called for it again in the White House when I was there, when we finally went in, literally the first couple of days. So I was like on a mission.
Yeah, you didn't last but 22 days.
No, that's
they
right.
Say you got to go.
And there was a meeting in the Oval Office that was attended by Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Jim Clapper, Director of National Intelligence, Director of the CIA, Brennan, Director of the FBI, Jim Comey, essentially the acting Director of the Department of Justice, Sally Yates, the current National Security Advisor under Barack Obama, Susan Rice. Those people and a few other minions were in the Oval Office on the 5th of January, and that's one of the things that in the film, my son Michael, he and I were talking, in the film, and we were talking about what was the most important thing, like what do you remember most about this wall, right? Because we have this timeline, and he says this is the thing that kind of has driven him.
That timeline in that movie is crazy.
It is crazy, and it's real. And so that meeting was the 5th of January, 2017, of course, just prior to Trump coming into office, and after Barack Obama had warned Trump not to hire me.
Right. That's
he hired
weird.
me twice. He hired me twice.
Right.
So he did that even before all of the craziness about the Russia phone calls, and so they knew that they were going to do something.
Right.
Well, on the 5th of January, they basically conspired to undermine the President of the United States. And during that meeting, and we know this factually from the fight that I got into as I went through this persecution and said, screw this, I'm not taking this anymore, and I'm going to fight back. And then we started to dig our heels in and get evidence. So they now started, I changed lawyers out and the whole thing, and that's all described. But we started to get evidence, and then Bill Barr, the Attorney General, appoints a special counsel. Special counsel digs in and goes, "Oh my God, man, we screwed this guy," and there was no crime committed. We committed the crime, so they dismissed the case. But that meeting on the 5th of January was the meeting that they conspired, that body of those people, those names, to say, we are going to get Flynn and then we're going to get Trump. We have to get Flynn out of the way. And I've told people this, that had I not left the White House, there would have been no Mueller investigation. The Russiagate, I would have killed it because I would have, I was digging in, I'm digging in, and they knew it. And back to this black budget program that exists and still exists, and if you ask Trump about it, he go, I'm aware of some of it. He doesn't know the weeds about it, but he should, especially now that I was going after that first.
Yeah,
and then there was going to be some other things that I was going to do because I had already done those things in the agency that I had led, which is the Defense Intelligence Agency. Immediately going in and starting to reform the organization so it was more functional. It actually did its mission, and started to look at their budget in that particular job. And I called for an audit, which there's no audits done with these organizations.
Right.
And when
that's crazy. And
this is
that's what started all this.
Oh, it started all of it, and now I'm the National Security Advisor. So. And, it's like, because people look at, the audience goes, and what's National Security Advisor? Most people don't even know. They don't know what that is.
I didn't know.
Yeah. So the National Security Advisor, you're right there with the president. You're in on all critical decisions that are going to be made for anything. I don't care whether it's food security, water security, foreign policy, war, nuclear, decisions. Every single thing that that a president of the United States is going to make a decision on, the National Security Advisor is right there. And I had that kind of relationship.
He can't function without you.
He can't. So,
and the Democrats didn't want you there.
Democrats didn't want me, and I'm a Democrat.
Yeah, and you're the most knowledgeable man in the government.
Oh yeah, big time. Time. At that time, especially the people in the circle around Trump, and that were coming in to be heads of departments and stuff like that. Yeah. None of these people had this set of experiences that I had.
Right.
That not only were at the very strategic level, the national security level of our country, that I'd already demonstrated an ability to do, and
for decades.
And I also had 5 years of combat experience. So I'm not a wallflower, and I'm not just some general where somebody sprinkled fairy dust and poof, you're a general.
Right.
So
you're not a Kamala Harris.
yeah, right. I've been to Europe, end of the border.
Hey, right. So Trump asked you to resign.
Yeah,
and so do you think if you stayed there, if you didn't resign, you think you could have prevented all this Russiagate, all this stuff?
Yes.
Do you have any resentment towards Trump for him even asking you to resign?
I did initially, and I talk a little bit about this. I make a comment in it about the movie, in the film. I did because when the actual resignation, and if you serve in the military, and I know you did, you can't put yourself between. It's like you got a commander and you got a sergeant major, and you screwed up. So you're trying to play mom off of dad, right? And you try to get between those, then and they're a good team, you're crushed, right? You ain't gonna win that.
They were
that
squeezing
battle.
Trump.
Yeah. So Trump, and the vice president Pence are elected. I'm not. So I saw it from my perspective of, and that's kind of the way Trump and I have spoken about it, over time, is that, I wasn't going to put myself in between, okay, choose him or me. I'm not elected.
Right.
I was appointed, and I'm also a military guy who grew up, all I ever wanted to do was to serve, right, and serve, especially serve in the Army. So I understood responsibility. I understand taking responsibility, and I understand self-accountability. And so I said, okay, I'm not going to put myself in between. I'm not going to sit there and go, well, this is bullshit. I mean, we had that, and I described the conversation in the room. And it's really in the film is the first time I've ever talked about that. That inside the Oval Office, that meeting, and it's like I say, those two guys that were in that room to talk to Trump prior, and probably a couple of days prior, Reince Priebus, the chief of staff at the time, and Mike Pence, the duly elected vice president of the United States.
Right.
And so they basically, to me, they teamed up and they got rid of me because I had a great relationship with Trump. And
you helped him get elected.
I worked my ass off for that man. And, a lot of veterans, we probably got over 20 million veterans in this country, And I remember getting up every single day. We would travel around the country, do 4 or 5.
With Trump.
Oh, with Trump. I would be the guy, all these other political hacks that would be there to kiss his ass, at these various venues. And so then they'd all talk for a couple of hour or two before Trump showed up. And then I'd go out and I'd introduce him. Right. And I'd introduce him and then he'd show up.
And you didn't get paid a dime for that.
Nothing.
Man. Yeah.
Nothing.
The only person that was genuine during that whole process was you.
Yeah. What I would say is that I was honored to be part of something that I thought was monumental for our country, because the one thing that I talk about is this idea that the country, and I felt it then. I felt it in certainly in 2015. I kind of felt it at the tail end of my career, but more so in 2015 when I really started to look at, okay, we're going to get ready to go into another election here. And I had met Hillary Clinton, and she gave me the heebie-jeebies. I mean, I did know. I mean, seriously, it's like you know.
It's like being in a room with a witch, right?
Oh my God, man! You get that, everything's like whoa, and
skin start to crawl.
Everything, crawl right off, right? And so, when Trump decided, I met him a month after he decided, and went down to New York to meet him, and I just felt like, man, this is what the country needed,
right? Yeah.
Because like him or not, whether you think Orange Man is bad or not, Orange Man is authentic. And the one thing that Orange Man loves is he loves his country. And I could tell that from the second I met him.
Right.
And, in the conversations, early conversations, and then the back and forth that we had for the next couple of months was really, it was honest. And I'm not one of these guys that, like, I don't give a shit whether you're a king, prince, president, big time, big shot like Trump. I've never been enamored by that kind of stuff,
Right.
And maybe that's the way I grew up, because we were like, you treat people like you like to be treated, kind of thing.
Right.
And that's the way my old man was. So anyway,
Vice President Mike Pence, he didn't fight for you.
not at all. Oh no. Pence threw me to the wolves.
Yeah, he orchestrated that entire meeting.
Oh yeah, no, he definitely did, because, Pence was part of the establishment.
Right.
Pence was put there as the vice president, handed to Trump. Okay, Now, Trump can say what he wants, but he ain't talking about Pence these days, is he?
Nope.
Right?
That whole movie changed my opinion of that guy.
Yeah.
I have a lot of resentment for him.
Yeah.
Mike Pence. Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not one of these people that's like, I don't have hate in my heart. I just don't. Wasn't raised that way. I was raised to be tough and hold people accountable, because if you did something wrong in my house, you felt it. But to this day, I mean, Trump called me up, and I won't throw out the things about the pardons, because I think that's a good part about the movie that a lot of people need to know.
It's a very
because it's like,
part.
it's like, wow, I never wanted to talk about that, because, it's like, but now I want people to know that, because that is a very, very tough decision. So Trump calls me up to say, hey, I'm going to give you a pardon. And I talk about that conversation in the film, and it's a good conversation. It's lighthearted,
Right.
But to this day, sitting here with you guys, whatever the date is, in 2024, to this day, Mr. Godlike faith man, whatever you want to call him, total bullshit, has never called me up.
Yeah.
He's never called me up to say, and I fully expected after Trump and I hung up, I fully expected to get the phone to ring and go, General Flynn, we got the Vice President of the United States on the phone. He wants to thank you or congratulate you, right?
Right.
To this day, that man has not called me up to say, Mike, I'm so sorry what happened to you and your family. And to me, that's unforgivable.
Yeah.
And I don't hate the man. I like I said, I don't hold hate in my heart, but to me, it's unforgivable. I will never. Those are the type of people, because if there's one thing with me, in our family, particularly in our family growing up, particularly my father, but my mother was good too. We developed a sense of loyalty, loyalty to our. I'm one of 9 brothers and sisters. I mean, we would try to kill each other inside of the 1,200 square feet that we had, but when we walked out that door and you messed with one of us, you were going to come after all of us, kind of deal. So, and so there's a sense of loyalty that I have, and I have loyalty because of my service in uniform, and and I was like, and I stayed loyal to Trump. I stayed loyal to. I mean, I could have come out and said, actually, they wanted me. The DOJ wanted me to figure something out. They wanted me to lie about anything.
Yeah,
so
I
they got
noticed
him.
that. They used your son as leverage.
Yeah.
So you would cop some kind of plea.
Right.
I mean, the things they did to you, the accusations about you cheating on your wife.
Right.
There had to have been a huge strain on your marriage.
Right. Unbelievable. I mean.
And for them to attack a war hero, a guy who served the country for 20 plus years.
33, almost 34 years, and 5 in combat, and all over the world, and rose to the highest levels of the field that I chose, right?
And they talk about they love our military.
Oh, these people are terrible. And so anyway, on all this stuff, I want people to understand that this film and this story is about America. And it's about so if I'm a vessel for this scenery of what it is that we're facing, because this is where it began. I mean, it began by taking out a guy, and they use other language, because in a piece of evidence that we got, in September or October of 2020. So like literally like 2 months before the election, we get one other huge piece of evidence from the lead FBI agent by the name of, oh Christ, I'll think about it in a second, but Barnett, okay, Agent Barnett. He was the lead agent for Crossfire Hurricane. And he basically, was being brought under the gun because the Durham investigation was still going on. And he was, so he did a like a deposition type statement. And in it, it's like 9 pages long. You can find it online. And in it, he basically says we're gonna, the whole thing was get Flynn to get Trump.
Yeah,
he was the lead agent for Crossfire Hurricane. That man picked me up 19 times to drive over to the Mueller team, 19 different times in the time that I was cooperating as a witness for them, right? And every time I went over there, they would try to get me to say something, that would be against Trump. And I'm sitting there going, like they'd go, okay, we got a picture of you and this guy together, so tell us about this guy. I was like, when was that, And it would be at some event, and I'd go, there was 3,000 people there. I probably took 500 pictures, And that's, and early on, you kind of just feel like these people, and I don't know how much we can, swear, because I still am a soldier at heart, but I mean, these people are assholes, okay?
Yeah.
And I mean, seriously, they are really, really bad. And I don't mean to get that way, but I need your audience to know that we are facing evil. These are like, it's one thing to oppose somebody politically and go, okay. And everybody that goes, well, we'll get them at the elections. Well, if our elections aren't fair, I mean, I've been called every name in the book, one of which is election denier, right?
Right.
Yeah. I don't deny that we have elections. I deny that they're fair.
Right.
That's all. And so, all of this, back to this film, all of this is to say, look, number one, watch this thing, because you're gonna watch it and you're gonna go, holy crap! I just didn't know. One of the things that and we talk about this in like as an intro, but it's not necessarily, it's not in the film itself. But for 2 years, my name was the most Googled name in the world, 2 years in a row. And when you Googled my name, so the way the algorithms are set up by the powers of
you don't want Google deciding who you are.
No, right. Well, so I'm the most Googled name in the world for 2 years running. So you type in Flynn or General Flynn or Mike Flynn, and it would immediately go to traitor, treason, Putin spy, Russian spy, foreign. I mean, all these really nasty attacks, right? And that's why I say, like, now it's all about narratively assassinating somebody.
Right.
That's the world that we live in.
Right.
And in this world of, like we talk about with like 5th generation warfare, this is what you're looking at here, if they can see it.
They said Trump scammed the bank out of money. They said he's a rapist. And they just found him guilty of 34 felony counts for hush money. I'm like, that's exactly what they're doing. It's like our CIA, our intelligence agencies are using propaganda against our own citizens.
Right. I mean, there's another great movie if people can watch. This one's only about an hour. It's called Into the Light. Into the Light. And what you just said is the theme of that 1 hour.
Look, everybody, inflation is out of control, and this problem is only going to get worse. The value of silver and gold has been steadily rising, while the value of the American dollar has been falling. PurpleBar.com is changing the game, making it easy for all of us to protect our financial futures. The bars are perforated so they can easily break apart and can be conveniently exchanged. Go to PurpleBar.com and use promo code Hodgetwins and you get 5% off gold bars. And you get 10% off silver bars. Yeah.